Hi students, welcome back to my channel Economic Lectures. Hope you all are doing well. We were discussing about international economics or the theories related to international trade. In the previous video, we discussed about absolute cost theory, which was put forward by Adam Smith and related to international trade. In this video, we'll be discussing about the comparative cost advantage theory. The absolute cost advantage theory, which was put forward by Adam Smith, said that any country, if two countries are planning to trade in between them, the country which has absolute cost advantage in the production of a particular commodity, that country will be exporting that commodity to the other country, and the second country which has an absolute cost advantage in the production of any particular good will be exporting that good to the first country. This is what absolute cost advantage theory says. But Ricardo came with the concept of comparative cost advantage theory, and let's look what does comparative cost advantage theory says. The law of comparative advantage is popularly attributed to economist David Ricardo and his book on the principles of political economy and taxation, which was written in 1817. As I said, this comparative cost advantage theory is related to David Ricardo, and he has presented his theory in his book on the principles of political economy and taxation, which was written in 1817. Although it is likely that Ricardo's mentor James Mill originated the analysis, it is also said that it's not David Ricardo who has originated this concept, but it was his teacher James Mill or his mentor James Mill who has originated this analysis, and David Ricardo formulated it into a theory. Comparative advantage is an economy's ability to produce a particular good or a service at a lower opportunity cost than its trading partner. So what does comparative advantage says? It's the ability of any particular economy or a particular country to produce a particular good or a service at lower opportunity cost than its trading partner. So we'll be discussing detail in the next slides. Okay. Comparative advantage is used to explain why companies, countries, or individuals can benefit from the trade. This theory also explains how does a country or a company or an individual by trading on the basis of comparative advantage can benefit from the trade. The theory states that if countries specialize in producing goods where they have a lower opportunity cost, then there will be an increase in economic welfare. This theory put forwards that the countries should specialize in the production of commodities or specialize in the production of goods where they have lower opportunity cost. So then they can increase the economic welfare of their country, be it a company, a country, or an individual. They should specialize in the production or manufacturing of a good or a service in which they have lower opportunity cost. This is different to absolute advantage, which looks at the monetary cost of producing a good. But on the other side, the absolute cost advantage looks at the monetary cost of producing a good. They look at the expense of producing a good, and by considering that expense, they compare it as absolute cost advantage or there is no advantage. Even if one country is more efficient in the production of all goods than the other, both countries will still gain by trading with each other as long as they have different relative efficiencies. For example, there might be a situation in which a particular country is more efficient in the production of all goods. It might be that country will have the benefits or will have the advantage when producing all sort of good than the other countries. But the thing is that all the goods produced by that country, it will not have the same amount of efficiencies in producing all goods. The efficiencies in producing certain good will be different for each countries. So they will have a relatively different efficiencies in producing each good than other countries. So that's what comparative cost advantage theory says. As there is difference in relative efficiencies, the more efficient country will specialize in the production of a particular good and it will export that good, and the less efficient country will concentrate in producing a good in which it has more relative efficiencies than other countries or other economies. So when going deep into the discussion of comparative cost advantage, we should know about the opportunity cost. So what is opportunity cost? To understand the theory behind a comparative advantage, it is crucial to understand the idea of an opportunity cost. An opportunity cost is the foregone benefit from choosing one alternative over others. So what is opportunity cost? It is the foregone benefit from choosing one alternative over others. For example, um, let's give a normal example. So, what is opportunity cost? You're traveling from, for example, from a place A to a place B. Either you can travel by train or you can travel by air or using a flight. So, what's the opportunity cost? When you can't use both the options, you can use only any one of the options. So if you're choosing train, if you're choosing to travel by train, so what's the opportunity cost? It's the opportunity cost is of course the travel by flight, travel by air using an aeroplane. When you're choosing aeroplane in order to travel, the opportunity cost is that you can't use the traveling, you can't travel by train. As you all know, traveling by train is cheaper when compared to traveling by aeroplane. So this is an opportunity cost. So when you choose aeroplane, the opportunity, the benefit that you forgone is cheaper modes of transportation, that is train. When you're choosing train, the opportunity cost is that the benefit of reaching a particular destination in lesser time, that is by aeroplane. So that is what we call as opportunity cost. We can give an example from our side, that means from the side of a theory. For example, a labor can use 1 hour of work to produce either one cloth or three wines. A labor who is working for 1 hour, using that 1 hour, either he can produce one cloth or he can produce three wines. We can think of opportunity cost as follows. So what is the opportunity cost is here? What is the foregone benefit from choosing to produce one cloth or one wine? So what is opportunity cost here? That is, if he choose to produce one cloth, what is the benefit that he misses? So if he chooses to produce one wine, what is the benefit that he misses? So therefore, just concentrate in these 2 points. By producing one cloth, we said that by working 1 hour, an employee or a laborer can produce one cloth or three wines. So by producing one cloth, if the laborer opts to produce one cloth in 1 hour, the opportunity cost is three wines. When he uses the 1 hour of his labor to produce one cloth, he misses the opportunity to produce three wines. That is what we call opportunity cost. On the other hand, if he chooses to produce one wine, by producing one wine, if he produces one wine, the opportunity cost is 1 by 3 cloth. If he decides to produce one wine, the opportunity cost or the benefit that goes on, the foregone benefit is the time to produce 1 by third of a cloth. So that's what we call as opportunity cost. Hope the point of opportunity cost is clear to you. In 1814, the anonymously published pamphlet Considerations on the Importation of Foreign Corn featured the earliest recorded formulation of the concept of comparative advantage. The concept of comparative advantage was, of course, politically motivated due to the political actions taken by the present English government with regard to importing of better goods. So there was an anonymously published pamphlet. It was named as Considerations on the Importation of Foreign Corn. With regard to this pamphlet in 1817, David Ricardo published what he has since been known as the theory of comparative advantage in his book. The name of the theory, the comparative advantage, was of course fair, commonly used through that time, but it was David Ricardo who has established that concept as a theory in his book, and that too in 1817. Ricardo used the theory of comparative advantage to argue against Great Britain's protectionist corn laws, which restricted the import of wheat from 1815 to 1846. So the reason why David Ricardo came forward with such a concept or such a theory was that it was to argue against or to criticize the Britain's protectionist corn laws. Protectionist corn laws in the sense that the government decided not to import any wheat from other countries. Producing wheat in Britain was costly, was expensive. So many others prefer importing wheat from other countries which are cheaper, but the government restricted this. As we said, it was the time when mercantilistic concept was followed by the countries and the economy. So they restricted import. In arguing for free trade, the political economists stated that countries were better off specializing in what they enjoy a comparative advantage and importing goods in which they lack a comparative advantage. That's how David Ricardo put forward the idea that countries can be better off economically if they enjoy a comparative advantage. In They should specialize only in the production in which they have comparative advantage, and they should import the goods in which they don't have comparative advantage. So we should compare the advantage that we have in producing a particular good with other countries. So we are lacking comparative advantage in that particular good, then we should go on in order to import that good from other countries. That's what David Ricardo says. In the case of comparative advantage, the opportunity cost, that is to say the potential benefit that has been forfeited for one economy, is lower than the other. So when it comes to comparative advantage, the opportunity cost for one economy, as I said, when we are specializing in the production of a particular commodity, then of course we have the opportunity cost, we forfeit the benefit or forfeit the opportunity cost of producing the other commodity. So the opportunity cost for one economy is lower than the other. So when we are specializing in a particular commodity, then the opportunity cost that we lose will be much lesser or lower than the other country. The economy with lower opportunity cost and thus the smallest potential benefit which was lost holds this type of advantage. So when we are going forward with this concept, an economy going forward with this concept, the opportunity cost it loses is very less, and the potential benefit that it loses is very less. In order to prosper, either we will have to lose any one of the item, any one of the benefit. That's what David Ricardo says. So either we are producing any of the goods, we will lose opportunity cost. So the lesser opportunity cost that we lose, the better the economy will be. It can be argued that the world output would increase when the principle of comparative advantage is applied by countries to determine what goods and services they should specialize in producing. Absolute advantage means more productive or cost efficient than another country. Whereas what does absolute advantage says? It says that means being more productive or cost efficient than another country. It says that we should be, our country should be more productive and cost efficient than another country, whereas comparative advantage relates to how much productive or cost efficient one country is than another. So, but what does comparative cost advantage theory says? It compares one country with another country. Are we more productive or are we more cost efficient in producing this particular commodity? Are we not productive or not cost efficient in producing this commodity? So, with this comparison, we relates that we finally decides what to produce and what not to produce. So let's look into a simple example how it works. Consider two countries, France and United States, that use labor as an input to produce two goods, wine and clothes. So this is one of the important assumption when it comes to comparative advantage. We are using only labor as factors of production. We are using only one factor of production, that is labor, and only two goods, that is wine and clothes. Two countries, one factor of production, and two goods. This is the basic assumption put forward by David Ricardo in order to establish his theory. In France, one, we are considering France. In France, 1 hour of a worker's labor. Laborers are working for 10 to 12 hours. Using 1 hour of a labor's work, either we can produce 5 clothes or we can produce 10 wines. If a laborer works for 1 hour, either he can produce 5 clothes or he can produce 10 wines. In the US, 1 hour of a worker's labor can produce either 20 clothes or 20 wines. Using 1 hour, we can't produce both these goods. Either we can produce 20 clothes or we can produce 20 wines when it comes to America or the USA. The information provided is illustrated as follows. We have just put forward the above two sentences into a diagram, into a table. So clothes, wine, France, United States. Here the factor of production is only labor. We are not considering capital here. So using 1 hour of labor, 5 unit of clothes can be produced in France, or using the same 1 hour, 10 units of wine can be produced. In United States, using 1 hour of labor, 20 clothes can be produced, or using 1 hour of labor, 20 wines can be produced. It is important to note that the United States enjoys absolute advantage in the production of clothes and wine. Here we can see that the United States has absolute advantage in the production of clothes, that is 20 clothes in 1 hour or 20 wines in 1 hour. But France can produce only 5 clothes in 1 hour or 10 wines in 1 hour. So United States has absolute advantage in the production of cloth and wine. With 1 labor hour, a worker can produce either 20 clothes or 20 wines in the United States, compared to France, 5 clothes or 10 wines. As said, the US enjoys an absolute advantage in the production of both clothes and wines to determine. So we have to determine the comparative advantage. Does US enjoys comparative advantage in producing both these commodities? It has absolute advantage, but we should look it has also comparative advantage or not. To determine the comparative advantage of France and United States, we must first determine the opportunity cost for each output. So we have to measure the opportunity cost. So when it comes to France, the opportunity cost of one cloth is equal to 2 wine. How we are calculating opportunity cost? The opportunity cost of one cloth is equal to 10 by 5. The opportunity cost of producing one cloth. So we are producing one cloth, that means we are missing the cost of producing 2 wines. So how we are calculating? We are calculating the opportunity cost of producing cloth, then we will divide 10 by 5, and that's how we get 2. The opportunity cost of producing one wine. So how we will calculate for the opportunity cost of producing one wine is equal to 10 by 5. Sorry, 5 by 10. The opportunity cost of producing one wine is 5 by 10, that is 1 by 2. So what is the opportunity cost of producing one cloth? If you are producing one cloth, you will miss the time to produce 2 wines. If we are producing one wine, we will miss the if we are producing one wine, we will miss the time, the labor to produce half a cloth. On the other hand, when it comes to United States, produce opportunity cost of one cloth is one wine is equal to one wine. Opportunity cost of one wine is equal to one cloth. As we can see, both are 20, so the opportunity cost is 1 each. So here we have the opportunity cost for one cloth, and here we have the opportunity cost for one cloth. So when it comes to the production of cloth, which country has the less opportunity cost? USA has the less opportunity cost, in the sense that if USA is producing cloth, the opportunity cost is only one wine. But when France produces cloth, the opportunity cost is 2 wine. So United States has the lesser opportunity cost when it comes to the production of cloth. Okay, now let's comes to the production of wine. The opportunity cost of producing one wine is half a cloth, but in United States the opportunity cost of producing one wine is one cloth. So the opportunity cost of producing cloth is less in France. That's what we said. Hope the concept is clear. So absolute in when we are considering absolute cost advantage, USA will be producing both these commodities, but comparatively USA has lesser opportunity cost in producing cloth, and France has lesser opportunity cost in producing wine. When comparing the opportunity cost of one cloth for both France and United States, we can see that the opportunity cost of clothes is lower in United States. Therefore, the United States enjoys a comparative advantage in the production of clothes. Additionally, all these points are what we discussed from the previous slide. Additionally, when comparing the opportunity cost of one wine for France and United States, we can see the opportunity cost of wine is lower in France. Opportunity cost of wine is lower in France. Therefore, France enjoys a comparative advantage in the production of wine. Therefore, France enjoys a comparative advantage in the production of wine. Similarly, Ricardo developed his approach to combat trade restrictions on imported wheat in England. By using this theory, he said that we have to combat the trade restrictions on importing wheat to England. He argued that it made no sense to restrict low cost and high quality wheat from countries with the right climate and soil condition. Why should we restrict the importing of wheat? The wheat that we import is of low cost and high quality, which comes from countries with better climatic and weather conditions in producing wheat. England would receive more value by exporting products that require skilled labor and machinery. It could acquire more wheat in trade than it could grow on its own. So he said that England should concentrate on exporting commodities and products that require skilled labor and machinery, because United Kingdom has a better labor, better skilled labor and machineries. It doesn't have the atmosphere for cultivating wheat, and it is not cost effective in producing wheat in England. That's what we said. So we could import wheat with lesser cost, and we can export goods which can be produced using skilled labor and machinery. So this is the graph that we can use to understand comparative advantage. On the x-axis we have the production of wine. On the y-axis we have the production of clothes. The first budget line is of US 20 and 20. That means Using 1 hour of labor, US can produce 20 clothes or 20 wines. The second one is this is for France. By using 1 hour of labor, France can produce either 5 units of clothes or 20 units of or 10 units of wine. Here it is written US is 3 times more productive at clothes production. So what is here? For using 1 hour of labor, France can produce only 5 units of clothes, but US can produce 20 units of clothes. That is, US is 3 times more productive in cloth production. More than 3 times the amount of cloth can be produced in US using 1 hour of labor. While it comes to wine, US is only 2 times more productive in wine production. US is only 2 times more productive in wine production. Using 1 hour of labor, US can produce 20, but France can produce 10. That's how we said that the opportunity cost of producing cloth is lesser in US and the opportunity cost of producing wine is lesser in France. So here US should select producing clothes and importing wine, and France should select importing producing wine and importing clothes. So US should select this situation because it is 3 times more productive at cloth production. So if these lines are parallel, if the production possibility frontier, so this is the production possibility frontier, this production possibility frontier, if these are identical, that is parallel, then no country has a comparative advantage. No country has any comparative advantage, and the opportunity cost ratios are identical. The opportunity cost will be identical. In this case, international trade does not confer any advantage. There is no scope for international trade when the production possibility frontiers of two nations are identical or parallel in this sense. So how does this theory of comparative cost advantage has an effect on international trade? The theory of comparative advantage argues that trade protectionism doesn't work over time. Uh, as England has done, it exports goods and it restricts the imports of wheat. So that in the sense that they are going forward with trade protectionism, they are restricting imports. So by using comparative advantage, the comparative advantage says that trade protectionism doesn't work. Only by engaging in free trade that countries can be in a better off position. Political leaders are always under pressure from their local consumers to protect jobs from international competition by raising tariff. But that's only a temporary fix. Of course, what countries at present are doing is that in order to protect their laborers, countries put restrictions on imports in order to protect their jobs, but it has only a temporary it's just a temporary adjustment. In the long run, trade protectionism hurts the nation's competitiveness because it isn't efficient. When going long term with such protectionistic policies, it will only negatively impact the countries. It allows the countries to waste resources on unsuccessful industries. So we should have a knowledge of our country, in which sectors we can be successful, and which sectors we have uh, more opportunity cost, so that we should import goods in that sectors. So being unsuccessful in certain industries is a waste of resources, and it will negatively affect the country in the long run. It also forces consumers to pay higher prices to buy domestic goods. This also trade protectionism also results in order to buy goods with higher prices. So hope that this concept is clear to you. You can clear your doubts using the command session, or you can mail me your doubts. My mail ID is given in each and every slide. It's so you can mail me your doubts. Hope the concept is clear. I would like to ask you to like, share, and subscribe my channel and my videos. Suggest the videos to your friends. Suggest me the improvements or the changes that I should make in my video. Hope everything is clear. Thank you. See you in the next video.